Scott Holliday here, and welcome back to Plus 2 Wrestling. Before we get started, I want to talk about a previous video I did. I did a video called 5 stipulation matches that need to come back. That had to get taken down due to a copyright claim because I used a little bit too much of a WCW match in that video. So I re-uploaded a director's cut that is now 7 stipulation matches that need to come back. But in putting up the director's cut, I wrote a new cold open. That's the part you're seeing right now in these videos. And that means that the old cold open for that video is now lost. And it turns out it was a very important cold open. I'd like to play part of it for you now. And this might not seem like a big deal, but when everyone's talking about this John Cena promo, very few people talk about Cody because Cena's promo was so good. It isn't a big deal right now. It's not a huge fumble right now. But they need to course correct. Because with this mistake, the snowball is starting to roll down the mountain. And as it rolls, if they don't fix this, it's going to get bigger and bigger and faster until it smashes into WrestleMania and everyone boos Cody. Mark my words. If they don't fix this issue, people will boo Cody at WrestleMania. And that would be a huge fumble. And what happened? Cody got booed at WrestleMania. Cody got booed at WrestleMania so bad that John Cena addressed it the next night on Raw. This is just me saying, I was right. And now, let's get on my soapbox. So today on my soapbox, first, a little peek behind the curtain. Sometimes I get these really cool ideas, and I had a very exciting video that I wanted to do for this week. And when I went to start doing it, I realized I need a bit more research before it's ready to come out. So I had to move that to the back burner and do something different this week. And when I moved it to the back burner, I noticed that I left 3 other videos on the stove, just waiting to be done. So I currently have 4 videos that I've started and haven't finished that need to come out. So those are going to come out soon, so get excited for those, where my hair length will change from shot to shot because there's still stuff I need to film for those. Those will be fun. But for today, this was originally going to be the cold open for this video. But as I looked into it a little bit more, I think this needs a full video, and that is the Charlotte Flair Problem. And I want to be clear, I'm calling this the Charlotte Flair Problem because The Problem is a series I do on this channel. You can check out my Mercedes Moné problem, my AEW babyface turn problem, and also my Sami Zayn problem, even though that one's a bit outdated at this point. But it's still a good watch, so check that out. So I'm calling it the Charlotte Flair Problem because I had a problem with the Tiffany Stratton match at WrestleMania this year. It just felt wrong, and I felt like they were making mistakes without realizing it. So I went back and I watched it again, and I no longer think that's a fair assessment, because I don't think they're unaware of the problem they're creating. I think this might actually be the Charlotte Flair burial, because I think they are purposely trying to tell us that we should not care about Charlotte Flair. So let's get into it. This is the Charlotte Flair Problem. So normally with these videos, I kind of have a big twist at the end where I surprise you with what I'm actually talking about. Not going to do this time. I'm going to give you my thesis statement right up front. The purpose of that WrestleMania match with Tiffany Stratton was to tell you that Charlotte Flair is old, redundant, and has been replaced. And I think they did this on purpose. At first, I thought it was just a mistake, but then I went and I rewatched it. And when I rewatched it, something different happened. I got to see more of it. Because when I watched it live, when they did the video package setting up the match, I got commercials because I am very cheap and do not want to pay for Peacock Premium. But when you watch the replay, you can watch that video package. And they did a very weird thing. Something that they would have had to have been doing on purpose, because why would you film it this way? They had a moment towards the end of the package where Charlotte says,
"No one compares to me."
Very specifically using the word compare, that no one compares to me. And the shots that they use while she's saying this are them flexing. It's like Charlotte flexing and Tiffany flexing in the same way. And then both of them hitting moonsaults back to back. So the very last message you get before the entrances start is Charlotte Flair being objectively wrong. They want you to know that she doesn't see what is obvious to everyone else. That Tiffany Stratton is very similar to Charlotte Flair. They compare very nicely to one another. And that Tiffany's gonna be better. Now let's take a look at Tiffany's entrance. First off, love Tiffany's entrance. They do this like Barbie toy box thing where she's in a box and she's kind of posing, and then next to her are two videos of her doing the same thing, and then she pops out of the box. I think it's just a very fun Barbie adjacent entrance and fits very well with her character. But if you take a step deeper, this could be very good symbolism. Tiffany Stratton is a girly girl character. She's kind of that LA airhead character. She's very similar to a Barbie doll. But she is not like the identical Barbie dolls that surround her. She is stepping out of that box and becoming something more. That is some pretty good symbolism. It could also be symbolic that Tiffany Stratton is the new popular toy and Charlotte is the old toy that they don't want to play with anymore. That's still symbolism, but it's less good. It's less good symbolism. So Charlotte makes her way to the ring, which, by the way, why is Charlotte making her ring entrance second? Why is Tiffany coming out first when she's the champion? That's just very odd. It's so you can see the similarities between Tiffany and everything Charlotte's doing. They worked very hard to make Charlotte as unoriginal as possible here. How does the entrance start? The entrance starts with a car driving up and driving Charlotte Flair to the entrance ramp. You know what the previous match was? Right before this match was Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight, who did the exact same entrance. He was driven up the ramp to make his entrance. And yeah, the cars are different and Charlotte came from a different angle, I guess. But why put these two things back to back? If you're going to do two car entrances, why not spread them apart on the card? Heck, you could have even put them on different nights. But no, they made the choice to have Charlotte Flair do the exact same entrance as LA Knight. And then she steps out, and what is she wearing? The Ric Flair robe. I know she recently said that she is the queen of the Nepo babies, and there was a time when she was just getting started that she didn't want to just be seen as Ric Flair's daughter. But as time went on, she became more and more Ric Flair's daughter. She started doing the woo, she started wearing the gowns, and normally it's a little bit more peacock looking. This time it was very much the long sleeve, feathery Ric Flair robe. And you know, her music is very Ric Flair-like. There's not a lot of originality in this as she comes to the ring in a big pink robe. Why was the robe pink? Because if there's one thing that is very much Tiffany Stratton's, it's the color pink. Like, she is the pink blonde. Like, that's her whole character. She had a pink Money in the Bank briefcase. Why would Charlotte choose a pink robe? I mean, sure, there's bits of blue in it, but why a pink robe? And then she takes off the robe and she's wearing pink and blue gear. And I know it's different from Tiffany's gear, but it's very similar. Both of them are pink. Both of them have like glitter in it. The big difference is Tiffany's is pink and silver, and Charlotte's is pink and blue. Blue and pink, first off, very similar. And also, I want to point out that not too long ago, Tiffany Stratton wore this. Those bits of gear are very, very similar. It seemed to me like they went out of their way to make sure that Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton looked similar. Like, they almost wanted us to, at times, get confused in who was who. And then as Charlotte walked to the ring, she got fireworks. Pink fireworks. You know, I've been watching Charlotte Flair for years now, and I would say that the Charlotte color is blue. She often wears blue. But for some reason, this night, in this match against this person, Charlotte's wearing pink. Now, you may be saying, well, maybe this is actually a Ric Flair callback? Because Ric Flair would wear red whenever he was losing. Charlotte knew that she was losing, but instead of red, she's wearing pink. I completely disagree with you there. Because even if that's the Easter egg they're going for, just using your eyes, you have to realize that Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair look too similar in this match. So let's talk about the actual match here. You know, their commentators are trying to tell the story, and I noticed this very strange line.
You can watch as much tape as you want of Charlotte Flair over the years, Wade, but she's evolved. She's evolved as a superstar. She's evolved in an in-ring competitor.
When did we see Charlotte Flair evolve? Consider this. She came in as part of the Four Horsewomen. I know that they weren't ever really a faction, but the four of them did kind of come in together, and they are associated with one another. That is Charlotte Flair, Bayley, Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks / Mercedes Moné. Each one of those women, you can say, evolved greatly. Like, take a look at Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch started her career in the WWE as, first off, a rosebud. And then she was like an Irish river dancer for a little bit. And then that went away. And then she was like cool steampunk girl. And then for a while she was girl who did puns for a bit. And then she morphed into becoming the Man. And that really started to catch fire when she became the Man. Caught fire so much that she main evented WrestleMania and became Becky Two Belts. And then from there, it all went to her head and she became big time Bex. You can see her evolve throughout her career. The same can be said for Bayley. Bayley came in as this lovable rookie that was a super fan of the WWE and liked hugs. And she had the Bayley Buddies, till eventually she snapped. And she killed the Bayley Buddies, and she was just kind of like anti-herself. And then she became the ding-dong-hello role model. And then she, too, became Bayley Two Belts. And she had a team with Sasha Banks for a while. And then she formed Damage Control. And then she was Anti-Damage Control. And now she's in her new character of the girl who got left off of WrestleMania. What can we say about Charlotte Flair? Charlotte Flair won the NXT title beating Natalya. Yeah, it was Natalya on NXT with her father in her corner because she's a second-generation star. And then she went on to become the queen. She often had Ric Flair in her corner, and she won title after title. There's like a big thing about how she almost has the same number of titles as her father. And then she went away for a little bit, and she came back, and she was the queen, Charlotte Flair. And she won at the title. And then most recently, she went away, and she won the Royal Rumble again, so that she could state that she was the queen, the Nepo queen, and won the Royal Rumble and tried to regain the title. Charlotte Flair has remained pretty much the same her entire career. I've never seen a massive character change out of Charlotte Flair. There are times where she's bounced between face and heel, but she was always still Charlotte Flair in those moments. The queen. She never really evolved. And guess what happens right after that call? Right after that call about how Charlotte Flair evolves. Do you know what she does? She gets Tiffany Stratton's head in between her legs and bashes Tiffany's face first into the mat. Just like Stephanie Vacure. Exactly like Stephanie Vacure. To the point that they mention, oh, shades of NXT's Stephanie Vacure. If Charlotte's always evolving, like they said moments ago, why isn't it something new then? Why is it something we see on NXT? Why is it someone else's move? That's also not the last time we'll see that. At one point, Charlotte goes for a moonsault. And when she goes for the moonsault, she first steps on Tiffany Stratton and then climbs the turnbuckles. Like Io Sky. Exactly like Io Sky. The current champion, Io Sky. If Charlotte Flair is evolving and changing and one of the most dangerous women out there, why have we seen all of her stuff before? I've seen Charlotte do these moves a bunch of times, and the moves I've never seen her do before belong to other wrestlers. So, if that's all I'm seeing, what's so special about Charlotte Flair anymore? But what's the story of the match? I'm spending way too much time looking into things, looking at, what symbolism and parallelism exists in there. What's the actual story of the match? Well, Charlotte's strategy is to take apart Tiffany Stratton's knee. Of course, that makes sense. Charlotte does the figure eight, a move that attacks the knee in kayfabe. It attacks the knee. So she's going to weaken that and then try to destroy Tiffany that way. Well, what's the game plan for Tiffany? Well, Tiffany is going to try to work over Charlotte's knee. Weird. They both have the same strategy. That's a bit awkward, isn't it? That they're both trying to tell the same story? There's actually a moment that I find unbelievably suspicious. Tiffany gets her leg caught up in the ropes in a very awkward way. And Charlotte goes to kick it. Tiffany gets out of the way. Later in the match, Charlotte finds herself in the exact same position. Tiffany hits the move. And you hear Charlotte in her selling say, "No, wait, give me a second, because A lot of damage was done to the knee in that move. Charlotte went for the move and failed. And Tiffany did it better. So how does this match end? Well, it's been a battle of moonsaults the entire match. Like, also going after the knee, but both of these competitors hit great moonsaults. They go for the moonsault several times. And then finally, Tiffany hits the prettiest moonsault ever and gets the 1-2-3. This is after she kicks out of a top rope natural selection. Like the avalanche AA version of Charlotte's move, the super version of her move where it's done off the ropes. Tiffany kicks out of that. Something that has finished a lot of people, a super version of it, not enough to put Tiffany away. And then the last shot of this match is Tiffany holding that title aloft in front of all 60-some thousand fans at WrestleMania while Michael Cole says,
Tiffany Stratton could be well on her way to a Charlotte Flair-like career in WWE.
She is going to become the new Charlotte Flair. And if she's the new Charlotte Flair, why do we need the old Charlotte Flair? This match is very strange. It seems designed to destroy the credibility and even the need for Charlotte Flair. One of two things have to happen after this. Either Charlotte Flair needs to be done. Like, when you're outclassed in such a visual way and communicate to your crowd that you are beaten and not as good as the champion in every way that you're known to be, that's the end of your story. Or two, we actually have to see her evolve. We need to see a brand new Charlotte Flair character now. Because her credibility has been demolished by this match. And I really hope that this was on purpose. Because if it was done on purpose, then there's a plan. There's a reason that they're doing it this way. This will be a beat in a story that will show us the evolution of Charlotte Flair. But if it's not, if WWE doesn't realize what they just did, then this is quite the Charlotte Flair problem. And that's going to do it for the show. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see me live doing commentary on May 3rd at 1 p.m., I'll be in Atlantic City, New Jersey, calling a free show for Combat Zone Wrestling. So be sure to join me in Atlantic City on May 3rd at 1 p.m. It's a free show, and we will be all wrapped up just in time for you to go check out AEW at Boardwalk Hall. So get some free wrestling before you're paid wrestling. Also, if you're having a good time and you think that maybe I'm wrong, feel free to leave a comment down there. I read all my comments. I try to respond to all of them. While you're down there, you can subscribe. You can also click one of the videos on screen that talks about some of the other problems I've seen in professional wrestling. But above all, I want you to have a great day.